Right. In this video, we're going to learn about how to use a dynamic record link for user to navigate when a record is created, and also use show toast message in Flow. So right now there is no default show toast message component in Flow. So either we have to build an Aura component and use it in Flow, or we have to build a Lightning Web component that uses show toast class, and then we can use that same inside Flow. But in this video, we're not going to build an Aura component or Lightning Web component. Instead, we're going to use one of the external packaged component in the Flow that will readily that can be readily used and can help me to show a nice toast message to the user. So to demonstrate this, what I have done is I've already created a flow for us. So this is how the flow works. So I have a flow that gets launched when I click on add contact button. So I'm in the opportunity page, and this is a quick action button. So I'm just launching a flow on this from this quick action button. uh, so before that, let me do this. All right, let me launch the flow, add contact, and yes, this is going to help me to create a new contact directly from opportunity record page, isn't it? So let me enter a new contact name, David Paid, and let me give an email address, and let me keep the address as is. If I just click on next, it just says, a record has been created with a link for me to navigate to that newly created record, right? Let's click here and then see. Yes, it did, navigated me to this particular contact David period. So far, so good, but we wanted to enhance this experience. We don't want to show a plain message, a text message to the user. Instead, we just wanted to align our message in line with Salesforce default theme. So that is where we're going to use this external component. So so this is the component which we are going to use it. So this is available in an official salesforce.com built by Eric Smith. This is completely free for us to use. Again, this is a community driven website. Feel free to use it at your own discretion, but very handy when you want to implement show toast message in your flow. Let's see how we can get this installed and see how we can consume that in your flow. So if I go back here, and if I go to show toast website, so this is where you can find installation links. So it's a package, so you can just click either sandbox or production installation link. It takes you to login page where you just punch in your username and password, and then it gets installed on the org. Once it is installed, we can immediately use it as an action in your flow. So let's see how we can do that. So this is the flow, and again, if you would like to uh, learn how to create this flow right from the scratch, please watch the previous videos. You may find the links there in the description, so please feel free to watch that. So right now in this video, we're going to focus only on enhancing this a success message, plus configuring the URL dynamically so that it just redirects the user to the newly created record. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete this one. I don't need this now. So let me create a new action, and I'm going to search for the component, right, that we just installed. So this is the component, and let me give a value. I just say this is a success message, and you got a lot of options. You will find documentation, right, about each attribute. You can find it right here. In my case, I'll be interested to use message and title first. I just say contact has been created. Please click here to view the contact. Yeah, and title is like contact created. And I want to show a link for the user to navigate to that record, right? So for which there are two options available in the component. One is URL label and URL link. So the documentation says wherever, whenever we wanted to show a link in the message, right? This is what is recommended. So instead of hard coding this text, click here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a variable called URL. And whatever the value that just going to put it right here in the URL label, right? The value it's going to get replaced, right, in this URL variable at the time of at the time of executing this particular component on the page. So when during the execution, this URL variable gets replaced with this label click here. So far so good. Now we have to configure a URL for the user to navigate, right? So we have to give the absolute URL. So we can't give relative URL right here. So how do we find URL, dynamically, correct? So that's for which we're going to use a formula to do that. So I'll get a new resource. Okay, I'm going to name that resource. I'm going to use a formula. Okay, I'm going to name that resource as URL to redirect. Yeah, and of course this has to be a text, and this is the formula that I'm going to use it. So if you're wondering what this particular formula will do, right? So this one, this global API variable, API partner server URL. So this will give me the base URL, the SOAP URL of your org. So this is how this will look like. This API partner server URL, right? So this will give you an output like this, the entire base URL of base URL of your org. But in our case, we just need you know we just need the URL up to this salesforce.com. We don't need anything from services. So that is the reason back in the formula we are using find, and then just saying that just get me only the URL until slash services. Just ignore the remaining, ignore the rest. So because we wanted to form a URL something like this, the entire URL, entire domain, right? And then we wanted to pass the contact that has just been created, the ID of the contact that has just been created. So that's the reason we are using this formula. I just have to make a little change right here. What I'll do is I'm just going to use this contact ID from create contact. So basically, right, create contact is a data element that is used in the flow to insert a new contact. So what happens is Salesforce automatically creates a variable for us the moment a record is inserted. So I'm just going to make use of that to access the contact ID. So that's it. So let's click done. And of course we got the URL now. Again, as per the documentation, during the runtime this URL variable gets replaced with URL label and URL link. So let's get this tested. That's it, done. Right now you have the success message. I'm going to save this as a new version, save, and let's activate this. Let's go back to this page opportunity. Let's refresh this and try to launch the flow. And here we go. So this is my new contact. I just say jade@boat.com. I'm going to keep the address as is. Let's click on next and see what happens. As you can see, a new, the pop-up, right? It's completely in line with our Salesforce default theme. Right now, the user experience has been enhanced. Also, we have that link. Briefly we had that link. Right? Let me get a new contact and then show that again. And let's say Gary@boat.com. We can also set the duration, how long that pop-up needs to be, open. So we have all the configuration in the component readily available for us. Let's say next, of course, created. Let's click here and then see what happens. So when I clicked, it just, took me directly to Gary Henson contact. Isn't it great? So that's another way again, right? Instead of creating your own component, you can use a component that is readily available for us to to show a toast message in flow. So we can use it at the time of creating a contact or updating a contact, right? So more uh, uh, the documentation, right? What other functionalities available in this component? It's completely available in unofficialsf.com. Again, this is a community driven website. Use it at your own discretion. Thank you.